middleweight tonight.
The shot was after the bell.
I dropped Lewis, I beat him up, and I was getting a knockout.
Look, that's not the way I want to win a fight.
I've got to be honest with you, I want to see it again.
Is Billy Joe Saunders coming back with Frank Warren? Because that's what I'm reading here. Now, I'm reading this off an article which... I'm not going to go in details in it because it's... yeah, it's got a few things in it. And Billy Joe, as poetic as ever, being a stand-up guy. But it does have some interesting things in it about the career of Billy Joe Saunders and potentially future progression. Now, Billy Joe last fought 4 years ago. In fact, actually, his last fight, me and Ade reviewed it on the look back. And it was actually, do you know what, right? We can have our opinion of Billy Joe Saunders. I have an opinion of Billy Joe Saunders. It's not a glowing one. And I don't think most people else would have a glowing opinion of him, quite frankly. But as a fighter, he was very, very good. And against Canelo, it was actually frustrating, not watching him in the fight necessarily, but seeing how much he still had left. Bear in mind, he's about 32 years old. You know, it's not old by no stretch of the imagination. Certainly not today, even for a fighter in, you know, super middleweight division. So seeing that fight, it was a little bit kind of, huh? Why have you not pushed on? You know, considering the fact that you still look to have a decent amount left in the tank, quite frankly. So that was an interesting one, watching that, and frustrating because you think, you know, there were still fights there for you. Why did you just go away? Well, in this article, and again, I'm not going to really go into great lengths on said article because of what it entails and the language that Billy Joe is using in it. I don't tend to do videos on these type of things unless it's something that would, say, negatively impact a current fighter who maybe has a fight lined up. If this was what's happening here, if this was, we'll say, Anthony Joshua, and he was getting ready to fight Dillian Whyte, hypothetically, I'd probably talk about it. I probably would, because I'd be like, holy crap, how is this going to impact him? You know, if he even gets that fight, is it going to happen, etc., etc., etc. But in this here, it says, in May of this year, the fighter had a meeting with boxing promoter Frank Warren to discuss a return to the ring as a super middleweight. Ha 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 ha, as if you can even get down to that way. But this week, Saunders and three other men were, okay, we won't go into that. It was something that he did on October the 9th last year. And I think that mugshot is from October last year because Billy Joe still looks absolutely, I mean, like his eyes are almost taken away by his cheeks and that. Holy crap. And yeah, Billy Joe, just being a man of, you know, Shakespeare level vocabulary. Go bend your something over and something you something. Brilliant. Brilliant. Should be so proud of him. But yeah, in terms of Billy Joe as a fighter, right, look, it was frustrating seeing him look so good against Canelo, even in defeat, to not carry on. Whatever you think about Billy Joe, whether you love him or hate him, and I think most people don't love him, but to see him still have loads left in the tank and to just throw it away by just getting fat as a God knows what, fat as a pig, drinking, doing God knows, I don't even want to know what he's been doing over the last 4 years. But you can see, and you saw at Eubank versus Ben, you saw that Billy Joe was, you know, causing issues for Team Eubank. He was causing issues for Napper, who is the complete opposite of Billy Joe. Napper's a stand-up guy. We love him. Absolute gent. He was causing issues, being his usual self, and he still looked absolutely, you know, he still looked like someone who, you know, if you're walking through a door, you have to turn sideways because you ain't going to walk through straight. That's the kind of way it looked, right? And for me, I'm looking at that thinking, how the hell are you ever going to get back? Well, apparently so. Now, I don't know what shape he's in. Has he been training? Is he training with Ben Davison? Is he back with Mark Tibbs? I don't know. But if he comes back, my logic has always been, what's the point? What's the point? What are you going to do? You're going to win a world title after 4 years, being fat as a pig for 4 years, not probably taking a punch, probably not even going for a jog in the last 4 years. Are you just going to come back and hit the ground running? No, it's not going to happen. He's coming back for one reason and one reason only. Eubank Jr. rematch. That's it. and they mentioned Eubank Jr. in here. That's actually, he's a 2-time world champion, and they opened the article with Saunders, who famously beat Chris Eubank Jr. in 2014. That's literally, he's a 2-time world champion, but that's how you open the article. Oh yeah, but never mind the 2 world. He beat Chris Eubank Jr. Crazy. But yeah, that to me is the only fight for Billy Joe. And if he comes back, that's the, you are going to have to, I've said this before about him, right? If he comes back, you have to match him so carefully. Because, with Anthony Joshua, right, as an example, right? He's coming back next year, early next year. Eddie Hearn has talked about matching him carefully for the first fight because we don't know what he's going to have left, right? We think he's got something because, he's always been in shape, he's always been active. Yeah, he's had some injuries and a stoppage defeat, but, he probably has a little bit still left in the tank. With Billy Joe, it's like, right, you've been out of the ring for 4 years, overweight for all of them. Your body probably doesn't even know what it feels like at this point to be in shape. So what way are you going to be at all, And it's funny, right? Because you see these fighters, and Billy Joe was never a fighter who took tremendous abuse in the ring, it's fair to say. Maybe this is a poor analogy, but I seen James DeGale, who's coming back to do bare knuckle fighting. And I seen him in a TalkSport interview a couple of days ago. And I couldn't believe how poor his speech had deteriorated. Now, he's not like Chisora's speech has gone a little bit. It's not that bad. But you can hear he's a little bit more. And again, James DeGale was someone who, he didn't take, mad shellackings in the ring. He had some tough fights, but not mad shellackings. And he's kind of, because I went back and listened to an old interview with him, and there's a noticeable deterioration in the speech. Noticeable. If you go and watch the TalkSport interview, you'll see it. And I'm just thinking, these fighters, when they leave the ring for a prolonged period, right? I think that's kind of when, the damage kind of sets in, because it's like, all right, now we're gone, we're not doing it. And then you come back and you're a shell of yourself. Like James DeGale's 39, Billy Joe is 36. He's going to be a shell of himself when he steps foot, if he steps foot in the ring. Because what Billy Joe was like, he's teased this a few times. Man, he's going to be a shell of himself if he steps foot back in the ring. I think, nah, man. I don't know. I think the best thing, but the problem is, right, Billy Joe was the sort of guy where boxing probably kind of keeps him out of issues like this, to be honest with you. Because, he's training camp and he's, you can tell he's someone who doesn't live the life. He doesn't love the boxing life, but it probably keeps him a bit more on the straight and narrow than when he's not. So maybe he needs it in that regard. A bit like Tyson Fury, actually, to an extent. His friend Tyson Fury. But yeah, Billy Joe, Frank Warren meeting with Frank Warren to return at super middleweight. I don't see it happen. I really don't see it happening. I think that if he does, he's probably going to come back at light heavyweight. I'd be surprised. If he ever gets down to 160, I'd be amazed. Amazed. He wasn't even a big 168 pounder when he was fighting. But I'd be amazed. All that abuse he's put to, Jesus. He'll never make it safely. No way. Like, he'd probably need, right? If he met with him in May, they're going to do a comeback probably next year, right? I don't know, but just hypothetically, right? If he does come back, I want to say for him to make super middleweight safely, you'd need maybe 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months to make it safely. Because again, that's what I mean. If you do a crash diet and I'm 170, all right, yeah, you look good. Oh God, your legs are shot. You're gone. You have no energy. Yeah, well, there's the crash diet for you. So he probably needs 6 to 8 months easily to get down to 168, if he can even do it at all. But yeah, Billy Joe, article, if you just type in Billy Joe, the article will come up there. It's weird, this all happened October last year, but we're only hearing about it now, crazy. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Until next time, people, peace.